Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Thank you so much for joining. It was so nice to be over at Barron's for a little bit earlier on. Obviously, time zones mean I don't get to catch him as often as I'd like to, but it was really nice to say hey to all of you. Truly do wish you all a great weekend and a great week. Couple of updates and a bit of chit chat for today. Listen, I don't know what 2026 is going to bring, but I know that it's going to bring some good things for our faves and some interesting things for our space. And now we'll be here, of course, with all the royalty as usual. But I'm actually mostly just looking forward to Harry and Meghan's, projects and whatever they put out. And I'm also looking forward to a bit of escapism with, as ever, with Love Meghan, whatever it is that she chooses to do with that. Of course, we know that, there are the wider social political things that are going on, and, that that can be very heavy, but it's good to have some escapism. I also just hope that things can be resolved in the US in a way that doesn't do any further damage, but I guess only time will tell. Shout out to everyone, though, who is taken to the streets, who is attempting to let their voices be heard. Right, let's see who's in the chat. Hey, Church Nelly. Hey, Wendy. Hey, Joan Commonwealther. Hey, Vanessa Jones. Lovely Shay. Renee Thomas. Hi. All right. Church Nelly. Meghan, don't ever return to England. Listen, you may be surprised. I do believe, and I'm going to obviously get more into it in the podcast, but I do believe there is going to be government pressure. I do believe that the government is going to put pressure on Charles to make sure that Harry gets his security. And if Charles doesn't want to do it, I think the government will do it themselves. Again, for their own personal gain, but I get the feeling it will happen. And I will get into why shortly. But it's not just the security that needs to be put into place. The tabloids need to be tamed. We're getting articles like this still. When Meghan can make 27 million selling jam, society is broken, really? Because of Meghan selling jam. Mind you, you've got William out here saying that he's going to end homelessness. We've got rampant homelessness now happening in the UK. But Meghan selling jam and making money is a problem. Mind you, Charles also sells jam and makes money. Not as much as Meghan, obviously. They don't want to point that out. So it's okay for Charles to sell jam, but not Meghan. Okay. I mean, the hypocrisy of this. And yes, that is the face of the fool that wrote this article in the Tory graph. Also, there's a squaddy who is going to be tracking all of the ridiculous documentaries that Channel 5 do this year. They seem to come up with a new documentary for the royals almost every other week. I don't know how they do it. It's actually quite a talent. I think they probably put into chat GPT, think of 100 titles for royal documentaries. So we're going to do one just on royal crowns. Then we're going to do one just on Kate's dresses. Then we're going to do one just on Camilla's dresses. And then we're going to do another one on the royal pets. And then one on the royal butlers. I'm probably giving them ideas now. But it is phenomenal how Channel 5 alone has become this royal spin machine week after week after week. And this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that they've done of Harry and Meghan. And they've done solo ones on Meghan, solo ones on Kate, solo ones on Camilla. I think they even did one, I think it was Royal Holidays, where the royals go on holiday. I mean, it must be getting views if they put so much effort and resources into it. But they tend to have an anti-Harry and Meghan bias. It is indeed a $1 million industry, this hate train. But I noticed, even today, I'm still getting tweets from random people, not in our royal space, saying how disgusted and horrified they were that Meghan would be on a list, the same list as Diddy, for most so-called annoying people. Diddy is not annoying, he's an abuser. An abuser. Yeah, that list, it didn't go the way whoever came up with it thought it would. Ooh, Renee, you've ordered your teas and honey. Good. Yeah, Wendy, they're going to turn the Invictus Games into the Charles show, not about wounded veterans. And mind you, even if he does show up, it's going to look terrible that him and the other royals have been ignoring it all this time. It's going to look really bad on Kate and William if they don't come. Now, one thing about Harry is he is still a monarchist. So would it surprise me if this turned into some kind of redemption show for Charles, maybe even the other royals? I don't know. I mean, it would be the smart thing, to be honest, for the other royals to show up. Because they haven't done anything to show their support for the British team in a while. Pretty much not since Invictus was launched and Harry was still in the fold back then. TV, why would selling anything break society? Indeed. Oh, it breaks society apparently when Meghan does it, but not when the current king does it. Current king who was king in turn for decades. It wasn't breaking society then. Kate and William taking 150 acres of public land that was being used by the public apparently isn't breaking society. Meghan selling jam is. Anywho, on to the next thing. Hang on a sec, folks. Yeah, so Kate's birthday is either coming up or it's gone. I don't really keep track of these things, but it's around early mid-January. Oh no, I think it was meant to be. Wait, hang on a sec. When is Kate Middleton's birthday? Because if this is saying that William didn't post anything, then I'm assuming it was. Oh, it was on January 9th. So, okay. So this is why this person. I couldn't make sense of this person's tweet. So her birthday's gone. It was on. I was actually on Friday, and this person said, so he didn't make a birthday post again for the mother of his children, or even ask his staff to do so. Same as in 2023, 2024. Granted, the main house ignored it too in 2023. So to avoid any noise like that surrounding the helicopter snow and overnight bads clip, she posted her nature thingy instead. Yeah, so obviously there was this rather interesting leak of William and the kids getting off a helicopter and the kids have overnight bags. Now there's been some suggestion that that leak possibly came from Camilla and Charles's side because we literally never see the children photographed, especially not coming out of helicopters with overnight bags. And that came just after there was an article in the news about the helicopter use of the royals. And I think they wanted to find a quick way of distracting. Okay, how can we distract from that? How can we distract from that? Kate with the nature video, with the last of her nature videos that she's been releasing all year and late for every single season. Utterly pointless, but here we are. And this is the last one. So let's read this article. And just reminder again, whole parts of Forest Lodge, and I think even there's this one organization that does outdoor stuff for kids, had to close down to accommodate Kate and William and their children to live in Forest Lodge for security purposes. And here she is with her nature videos all year talking about go out to the nature. So Kate turns 44 years old today. Well, I guess this article was written on Friday, and she decided to celebrate by releasing her fourth and final 4 seasons Mother Nature video. Kensington Palace finances video series, and it absolutely counts as work for Kate. She does the voiceovers, and she's appeared in 3 of them. I mean, some people were even saying that the voiceovers were AI Kate, because you can duplicate your voice for AI now. The text of Kate's voiceover sounds very much like it was written by AI, and I don't get the scene that these videos are popular in the UK, or that people were begging for Kate to do weird video series celebrating the seasons. Her cap is full of secrets. She's wearing big blue in the video. That's her ring, big blue. Honestly, I have no idea what to do with this or say about this. The royal reporters don't know what to say either. So they just treat this video series like it's a half-assed book report from a 12-year-old. Yes, it's so special that you want to celebrate the seasons. What a big girl you are, the royal Substack claims. The video series was far removed from standard royal communications, and that the series and messaging was perhaps a little too emotive for the taste of Charles, but it has landed extremely well with the public. Has it? I don't know, because I haven't been in the UK for a good few months. Is this landing well in the UK? Like, is anybody actually paying attention to this? Or what? I'm also still confused what purpose this was meant to serve. Kate reading out AI slot monologues about the seasons whilst prancing around various royal estates. This was not something far removed from Kensington Palace either. It was the Kensington Palace staffers' attempt to put together something simple and childlike to give Kate since she refuses to work. That is what Charles doesn't like, indeed. And I feel like this is part of the strategy to make it look like they're working while they're doing significantly less work. So it allows Kate to be visible without her actually showing up for anything. Remarkable. This is why they wanted Meghan to be 50% of herself, y'all. And this will indeed go down on the court circular as work. Dear oh dear. And they also came out to do an appearance, you can see in this picture, I believe it's this one, with the NHS, the underfunded NHS. And a lot of people are making note of the fact that she did not wear her engagement ring. Now, granted, I feel like this has happened a few times. I do have my theory that maybe the reason Kate doesn't wear her ring sometimes is literally just so we'll talk about why isn't she wearing her ring, but there could be a little bit more to it. So give me 1 sec and we will have a read of this. One moment, y'all. If I can find the article. Got so many today, they're all over the place. Okay, here we go. Helen, you said instead of the Mother Nature malarkey, Kate should be setting up a cancer charity and paying from her own pocket. I can say a lot of Brits weren't interested in her Mother Nature stuff. Yeah, yeah, I didn't see any birthday shout outs for her either, which is interesting because you would think if it's going to get people talking or rumors started, they would just do it. TV said that ring is big and clunky. Diana didn't wear it all the time either. And would Diana have worn that big clunky ring that can slip off easily while scuba diving in the ocean? Because that's what Kate did. That's what Kate did. Okay, next thing. So here are some more photos from the Prince and Princess of Wales's Thursday outing to Charing Cross Hospital in London. They were apparently there to thank NHS workers, especially given that the holiday season and start of 2026 has been brutal with the flu, corona, and norovirus. It would have been such a big public statement if William and Kate wore masks during the hospital visit. Alas, they did not. I feel like okay, blah blah blah. In recent years, there have been moments where Kate seems especially zonked out, and other moments where she just seems to be excessively exuberant for no apparent reason. Oh, the jazz hands and the grinning. At the hospital yesterday, she was laughing hysterically and jazz handing like crazy. Maybe she was just naturally ecstatic. Like, yay, let me leave the house for the first time in 2 weeks. The Royal reporters kept emphasizing that Kate was added to the visit at the last minute and that it was a surprise. I still don't know why they do that. Also, a surprise? Kate left Big Blue at home. She did wear the wedding ring band, though. Now, this is actually a very good point. This whole thing about Kate was added last minute, it was a surprise. It's giving, I don't live in the same house as the person that I was meant to show up to this event with. Like, it's giving that. And I feel like this is the Raw reporter's way of saying that without actually saying it. Somebody here has an interesting theory about when Kate wears her ring and whether or not the ring is actually with her in residence. But it is quite interesting that sometimes she wears it, sometimes she doesn't. It's been like this for a while. Um, the Chad boys are trying to explain this away by saying, however, there was likely a practical reason why she just wore one ring for the hospital stop. The Royal may have been respecting common hospital policy to keep jewelry to a minimum or reduce the spread of germs. I mean, wouldn't she have then maybe tied her hair back or worn a mask? It could also just be maybe she didn't want to wear a big giant sapphire, you know, at a hospital. Maybe the optics wouldn't have looked very good. But when have these people ever really been that mindful? So she's removed her engagement ring regularly in recent years. As someone who isn't a fan of ring watch, I actually think Kate makes a point of removing Big Blue to start conversations and create buzz around her appearance. I think that's part of it, to be honest. Um, so she also said, I know when told that patients and visitors can sit in the hospital for hours. That's how she responded to the comment about patients and visitors sitting in the hospital for hours. I know. No, you don't know because you were given treatment ASAP as soon as you got a diagnosis because you're a royal. So you wouldn't know about patients and visitors sitting in the hospital for hours. And the fact that I know is all she had to say. Nothing of substance at all. And it's really just actually quite offensive to have the royals around NHS workers when the NHS is struggling so much. They are mismanaging funds. I have many family members that work in the NHS. The funds are there, they're just horribly mismanaged. It's being increasingly privatized. These big corporate giants and individual um greedy oligarch types want to get their hands on it the same way they've got their hands on the US healthcare system. And those are the conversations that we need to be having around the NHS. And if the royals feel that that is too political to have conversations about people's access to healthcare, well, then they just shouldn't show up for things like this, because it just makes me angry, to be honest with you. I don't know if either Kate or Charles has acknowledged the privilege that they have as royals, that they are basically going to be treated for any illnesses straight away, whereas there's long waiting lists for everybody else. Lottie said that old ring has crust on it, put on by Camilla. Helen, you said Kate has no idea the reality of NHS treatment that we have to endure. She has no idea about cancer treatments being cancelled due to shortage of bed. Indeed, this is another scandal. This actually happened to someone in our community circle during COVID, and he died. He was not given the treatment that he should have been because of the mismanagement of patients during lockdown, and he passed, not directly of COVID, but because he could not get his cancer treatments. If only he was a royal. If only he was a royal. Then he wouldn't have to think about it. In fact, he wouldn't even know. I mean, Kate has been a royal now for how long? How is she this bad at PR? How is she this bad at even pretending to care? That would be her response. Anywho, on to Harry, our Harry. Invictus is coming in 2026. It's gonna one of the things that's gonna be so interesting about this year is, so Invictus is coming in 2026, but the Daily Fail court case, sorry, Invictus is coming in 2027, but the Daily Fail court case is 2026. Now the royals for sure want Harry to step down. I'm sure there are also people in government that want Harry to step down from that court case, because they're all being, held by the boards by Jonathan Rothmere as well. By the way, the UK and some other countries, I think Canada and Australia, but the UK is actually considering banning Twitter, now known as X. I just don't call it that because of Elon's behavior. I mean, are they going to ban the Rupert Murdoch, Jonathan Rothmere tabloid press too? Because they've been doing damage. But that's the word on the street. But back to our royals, back to Harry. There is this going around that Harry desperately wants his dad to attend the Invictus Games. Now, obviously, here where we have sense, we don't believe what we don't get directly from the horse's mouth or their spokespeople's mouths. My guess about these rumors is, even if there's some truth to them, I think a lot of this is projection from the tabloids and possibly the government. But let's have a read, and then you can all tell me what you think. So in 2014, the inaugural Invictus Games were held in London. That's the picture that you can see there, with Harry looking a bit younger, sitting next to Charles and Camilla and William on Camilla's right side, where he is to this day. His father, brother, and stepmother were in attendance for the opening ceremony. Then Prince Charles appeared to be incredibly proud of Harry, and Charles even chose a photo from the ceremony for his Christmas card that year. In 2024, Harry was invited back to London to attend the 10-year commemoration of the inaugural games. There was a service at St. Paul's Cathedral. Do you remember that, with all the crowds? with the date well known for months in advance. Harry invited King Charles and the other members of the royal family to attend. They refused and briefed the media in advance of the event that their refusal was Harry's own fault and he should have known better and he's desperate and lonely. By the way, the Spencers came and they were probably shocked at that. And that made Charles and William and the others look very petty, spiteful, and childish. Well, here we are. Summer of 2027 is approaching, and the Invictus Games will be held in Birmingham, England. I do think that the games are being factored into all the recent conversations about Harry's UK security and the Home Office's risk assessment. What's also being taken into consideration is that the left behind Windsors look incredibly stupid, if not downright vile, if they continue to ignore the Invictus Games, the Invictus community of veterans and military families, and Harry specifically, all of which to say the Sun now claims that Harry is desperate to have his father at the Birmingham Games opening ceremony. I mean, Harry will likely extend an invitation, but nobody wants Harry there, Meghan there, and the kids there more than the tabloids. Nobody wants this more than them. The Invictus return to the UK in a glittering opening ceremony in Birmingham on July 10th and will run until July 17th, the day Camilla turns 18. Wow. What a coinky dink. The games are planned way in advance, and there have been meetings and conference calls about the 2027 Invictus pretty much since the last ones in Vancouver finished. Planning committees are aware of Camilla's birthday and hope Charles will be able to do the opening and attend events while still honoring commitments to his wife. And Harry is across every detail of what is going on with Invictus. So the article goes on to say, if Keir Starmer is still the Prime Minister in the summer of 2027, mind you, there's a chance that may not be the case, I can guarantee that he will be in attendance at some point. Yeah, if Starmer is still Prime Minister by that time, I can actually see him going to this one. I don't think he'd want to miss something like this, either for the opening or closing ceremonies or both, especially because this is to do with veterans. It would just look bad if the Prime Minister didn't go. I can pretty much guarantee that people in his cabinet and government will also be present in various official capacities too, which makes me wonder if this is purely about Harry's relationship with his father or whether this will be one of those things where Downing Street gets involved and tells Charles, this is something you have to do. You have to show up for veterans. This is one of the easiest PR wins ever, and you would be stupid not to put up a fuss about it. I agree. This is exactly what they had to do when Diana passed away. Kick some sense into them. Even if it's for optics and PR, you have to do something. You can't just stand by the sidelines. And Harry's inadvertently offering them a slice of redemption, at least in the eyes of the public, if they do show up. That being said, I'm sure Harry wants his father there. I would assume that Harry has already mentioned it or invited Charles. It would be hilarious if William throws an 18-month-long tantrum about I refuse to go and Harry should have given Invictus to me. As for the one thing about Camilla's birthday, laughing my ass off, indeed I am. Ain't nobody care about Camilla's birthday. It's on the closing ceremony, and so what? And so what? I mean, listen, it's not like Harry needs to be desperate to have his family members there. The games will go on and be as successful as ever. But I get the feeling that the Prime Minister and members of the cabinet will likely be there. Charles will likely be there. But I think that William is just too petty and vindictive to come. I don't think that William wants a narrative that there is any type of reconciliation with him and Harry. Even if it's a fake one and it would make him look a little bit better. I just think that William is in such a jealous, vindictive state right now. Okay. All right, let's end with your comments and then we will call it a day. Helen, you said, oh no, sorry, I read that. Helen, you said Harry's court case starts this coming Wednesday and will last for 6 weeks. It's going to be a long 6 weeks. It's going to be a long 6 weeks. Oh, I'd forgotten that it was 6 weeks, and now you've reminded me. No, I remember the podcast where I was originally reading about the length of the trial, and I was like, oh gosh, when 2026 comes round, and here we are. It's come around so quickly. Maggie, how do they know what Harry wants? Good question. How do they know? They don't really. Will not and cannot have talked about the nurses in hospital and cannot cancer experience, but never mention actual doctors. Very strange. Very strange indeed. Black Queen, you said the only ones desperate are the gutter rats who want to make money off of Harry. Indeed. Lottie, you said, I hope Meghan doesn't attend, but that's her husband. I'm sure he won't let her with him. I think, in my eyes, if the security situation doesn't get sorted out, but quite frankly, even if it does, I don't think these people are trustworthy. It wouldn't surprise me if Meghan literally came over for the closing and got on a plane and got straight out of the country. Or did that for the opening as well. Maybe stop off at Paris for some tea or fashion week if it's on that week, and then keep it moving. Kim Coates, you said, I think the British press wants Charles to get good press by using Harry's successful Invictus Games. Charles couldn't be bothered with the 10th anniversary service. Why bother now? Well, that's a very good point, but a 10th anniversary service is very different from the actual games itself, being in the country and you're the king. So it would look good on Charles if he did go. We'll see how petty and vindictive Camilla is feeling. I mean, I think just as a matter of formality, he has to invite the Prime Minister and the King. Whether or not either of those two people show up, that's a whole nother thing. And if Charles shows up, I get the feeling he'll show up alone. I don't think Camilla will go. Not unless she's dragged. Now, does Camilla please her ego and not go? Or does she do at least one thing to add a little bit of sunshine to her very tarnished image? All right, folks, I'm going to end this there. Thank you so much, as always, for all the drama. Just always remember, we do actually have some great things to look forward to. And on your way out, if you would like to make a donation, please do check out the links in the description box and pinned to the top comment. That'll be all from me. Love you as always, folks. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'm going straight to bed because it's like 2:30 over here on the bottom of the planet. Ciao.